Have you ever shot a hyperlapse or videoed a sunset using your DJI Mini 4 Pro, Air 3S or your DJI Neo, expecting the results to be spectacular, only to download it and it's all a bit, well, meh? In this video, I'm going to show you how to take those clips from meh to yeah. There's a quick way to do this on your mobile device, which I'll touch on, or for even better results, you can use the free version of Davinci Resolve. I've also got some updates and tips for getting the best out of a sunset hyperlapse. But today we're going to be concentrating on enhancing your footage for amazing results. So let's get on with it. I've been flying drones and talking about it on YouTube for a couple of years now, and have probably made more videos than is strictly necessary about shooting sunset hyperlapses. It's kind of my thing. So there are several guides that are available on the channel for doing that, but a couple of people have asked me to do a video on colour grading. Now let me be clear, I am no Darren Mostyn. He's a professional colorist and makes some excellent tutorials on colour grading. But in this video, you'll learn enough to get you 90% of the way there for some fantastic drone footage. For the past month, I've been shooting a sunset hyperlapse from my garden almost every evening, and I've learnt a lot from it. So I thought it would be worth sharing 3 updates to shooting a sunset hyperlapse that I've discovered over the past month. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through the whole process again, just these extra tips. The first tip is about reusing hyperlapse waypoints. Don't bother. They're still broken, as I showed you in this video here. I'll leave a link in the description for that so you can be the 5th person to watch it. Was it the thumbnail? I don't know. Yeah, I think it was the thumbnail. Instead, I created a normal waypoint mission to start from about 250 meters away from my garden and ending right above it, and with both waypoints facing the sun, obviously. I then used the timed photos technique to capture my images, which can be easily stitched into a hyperlapse in Davinci Resolve or many other editing programs. Honestly, it is super easy. This means that when I want to create a hyperlapse of the sunset, I can load in the waypoint mission, get my drone up and out to the start point, and start shooting those timed photos even before the battery drops below 90%. And because the waypoint function is so reliable, it makes finding the drone in the sky a breeze as well. As an example, with the route my Mini 4 Pro flies, I know that if I use this tree as a reference point and move my eyes up from it, I can easily locate the drone at any point along its route. Neat, huh? With this method, I can get the maximum amount of time for my shot, and the second waypoint is right above my garden, so I don't have to have too much anxiety about how low the battery is at the end of the flight. You can see how to use timed photos as an alternative to the hyperlapse function in this video here. Please watch it, for God's sake, it took me ages to make. Yeah, it's begging, isn't it? With my admittedly mullered batteries on my Mini 4 Pro, the best time for me to take off is about 15 to 18 minutes before sunset. Flight time does vary depending on the conditions. I've found that I can go for as long as 20 minutes.
Doubt it.
So just after the sun has dipped below the horizon. I've also worked out that whatever flight time you get out of your batteries, subtract about 7 minutes, and that's the time before sunset that you need to take off. A distance of about 250 meters at 0.2 meters per second works out right for about 20 to 25 minutes. And if you want to push past the return to home warning, which of course I would never recommend, don't go lower than 15% on your battery. Even then, by the time you get the drone back, you may be getting a critical battery warning. But at least if the waypoint mission ends above you, the drone hasn't got far to return to home. And my final lesson is to adjust your shutter speed to as low as possible, without blowing out the sky. I've found that an ND512 filter helps me do this, and gives me the ability to bring the shutter speed right down to 1 second. But anything between 1 second and half a second is fine. Don't bother with CPL or circular polarized light filters for this. They really don't have any effect when pointed directly at the light source. And if you have trouble pointing the drone at the sun for your shot of the sunset, then I'm not sure I can help you. My advice would be to sell your drone and take up another hobby. Point your drone at the sun. It's not hard. Anyway, let's grab our file and really make it pop. The easiest way to brighten things up a bit if you're editing on mobile is to go into Lightcut, load your clip into a project, and then select the clip, and you can apply a filter. There, that one looks okay. Alternatively, if you want a bit more control, you can select Adjust, then get a little bit more specific with it, so bring up the shadows, increase the contrast, increase the saturation, and so on. With any editing, I would suggest seeing what something does by taking it to the extreme, then take it back to where you think it looks right, and then dial it back about another 10%. Otherwise, you'll end up with something that could look a bit unnatural. You want to achieve a look where people don't necessarily notice what you've done. Think Kate Winslet versus Kaylee Price. You want to be closer to the Winslet side of things. You don't want to make your footage look, pricey. We're using the light that's already present in the picture and enhancing it, not putting completely new colours in. So like this, not like this. The one problem with doing this in Lightcut is that it tends to apply your adjustments to the whole frame. But what if we wanted more control over certain parts of the picture? This is where we turn to our old friend, the free version of Davinci Resolve. Davinci Resolve by Blackmagic Design is my go-to editing package. I'll leave a link in the description for it, but the free version is amazing and has very few limitations and no watermarks. And no, I'm still not sponsored by Blackmagic Design. The only thing the free version does struggle with a bit is H.265 footage and D-Log-M. The paid version is about $300, and that's a lifetime license, so you've got it forever. And you get free updates as well, which is an unusual thing in this day and age. Right, that's out of the way. Before we begin, I'm just going to say that I'm only covering the basics here. There's a lot more you can do, and what are you doing? I'm just trying to help. And it's really funny watching you try to edit. You won't find it so funny when you've got to edit this bit, will you? Don't him. All he does is edit videos and eat my food. Sorry, we got a bit off track there, didn't we? But yeah, you can use it to do all sorts of stuff as well, which, well, like that, which is just a bit of fun. No, it isn't. Right, let's open up this clip in Davinci Resolve and see what we can do with it. So we've got our clip of our sunset hyperlapse here on the timeline, and yeah, it's okay. It is still a bit meh, though. We're going to go into the color page.
Chicago, the passengers are beginning to panic.
Now, don't freak out. This isn't as intimidating as it looks. There you go. Right, calm down. Now, what we've got here is a node. If you can't see your nodes, then click up here and reveal nodes. And we're going to be doing a little bit of editing using these. So the first node we've got here is our input. And this is what we're seeing here. So let's just name this input. Now we're going to add a parallel node. So if you press Alt or Option S and then select that new node and press Alt and P, we've got two nodes here that run in parallel. So they work together and then get merged over here. The reason we've got two is that we've got a very sort of definite line here of bright sky and dark ground. And we want to treat those two separately. So I'm going to use this node for the sky. So let's call that sky. And this node for the ground, we'll call that ground. So let's start with masking out the ground. At the moment, it's looking very dark. Can't really see much detail, can't really see much color. If we change the whole exposure, it's going to blow out the sky. We just want to be changing the ground. One thing to note here is in this scope, if you can't see this, click on this little graph here. You might have keyframes. Click on the little graph here. And then I use Parade. I find that easiest. These colors down here, the red, green and blue in this line is representing this lot here. And then the high ones where we're kind of blowing out the reds a little bit represent the bright colors in the sky. Now, we can keep an eye on these and balance things and do lots of technical stuff, but don't worry too much about them. They're an aid, they're not a rule. So let's start off with the ground. Now we want to isolate the ground. So what we're going to do is click on Qualifier, and The main problem we've got is that the ground's too dark. So let's just switch off hue and saturation here. And make sure that if you hover over the picture, you've got this little eyedropper icon. If you haven't, then click over here and just select Qualifier. Press the left button on your mouse, drag it across a sample of the picture, and you'll see down here now, this is indicating the low and high points of that sample that you've taken. And then what you do with that to make the sky masked, because remember we're working on the ground part here, is you click that and drag that till the sky has gone almost completely white. That means that that's masked out of the picture. Now what you want to do if you don't want too much of a harsh line between the sky and the ground is just increase the blur radius here. And you can see if I move that up quite a lot, you can see that horizon line just blurring slightly. We'll go on to our color wheels. If you can't see the wheels and you're seeing sliders, then just click over here onto the wheel. Now the lift part of it alters the very dark areas. The gamma is the medium areas and the gain is the light areas. Offset makes a change globally to the whole of the area that you've got selected in this node. So first thing we want to do is just bring up a little bit of the light areas. And you'll notice I've got this clip about halfway through. And with every change that you make, just have a little scroll through, see how much difference it makes. I'm going to bring that up a little bit, just a little bit. And as you can see, we're starting to lose a bit of color. So the next thing we want to do is just boost the color a little bit. Don't go overboard, otherwise it starts looking weird. But just bring that down just so that it's getting a hint of color there. We just want to bring the contrast up a little bit so we regain some of that detail. Have a fiddle about with these controls. See what suits you best. There's lots of technical things you can do, but at the end of the day, it's
Whatever floats your boat.
I'm happy with that, for the moment anyway. Let's work on the sky now. So again, we'll go to our qualifier tool, switch off hue and saturation, and let's just get a sample of that going across, and we can see here that we've got our range of luminance. And what we're going to do is just move that upwards this time to mask out the ground. That's about right there. Now you can see here, little bits of this lake are showing. That's okay, because we want the color to change on those anyway, because it's reflecting the sky. So what are we going to do with the sky? At the moment, it's looking a bit plain. So I want to boost up the yellows a bit and the oranges a bit. So if we go onto the offset color wheel, grab that middle dot and just move it ever so slightly towards the red and the yellow. And it is tiny, tiny movements that you make. You can move it all the way up and that makes it very red, but we want to have tiny movements. We're enhancing, we're not replacing color. To reset any of these, just press the reset button and we'll go again and just add a touch more red or yellow side of things. And you can see here now in these lakes, we've got a little bit of orange coming through. By the way, this took me about 3/4 of an hour to work out when I was learning this technique. I was seeing very little change when I was changing this qualifier bit. But if you click on this little guy up here, the highlight, that will give you an image of the mask. Honestly, it took me ages to work that out. But you can see there, switch that on, switch that off. There we go. Make sure you add a node at the end here. So we'll select our merged node and we're going to press Alt or Option S just to add this in. And then you can see the full output of what's going on here. Now, I'm okay with that. The sky's looking a bit dull though. So what I want to do there is to enhance that sky. So let's just move our nodes over a little bit. And I'm going to add a serial node next to the ground. And I'm going to call that Sky Blue. And on this, we're adding a graduated filter. So if you think of this as a graduated photographic filter, it's doing a similar sort of thing. So the graduation starts off at the top. We bring this down so that we're just kind of touching that graduation, fading out near the horizon. Go back into our color wheels and we want to bring in some blue here. So let's bring some blue in, click on our output node here. That's That's looking a little bit too blue, and this is what I'm saying. You need to have a little practice with this and perhaps just dial things back. So don't forget to click back onto the node that you made the change. Let's just dial this blue back a bit. We want it fairly deep, but not too unnatural looking. How's that looking? That's looking better. It's looking a little bit yellow, so I'm just going to make a bit more of a blue adjustment here. That's better. Now, one thing we are missing here is a bit of yellow or orange around this area. It's all still a little bit flat. So before our output node, I'm going to add in one final serial node here, Alt or Option S. And on this node, we're going to add a rectangle. So let's pull that in there. Don't worry, the picture hasn't all disappeared. We're going to drag this rectangle all the way to the side, on both sides, bring the rectangle down a bit because it's this kind of area we want to concentrate on. These blue handles help us just change the size of the rectangle. And then these pink little guys here help you merge and feather and graduate the effect. And we want this to be as nicely merged as possible. So we're going to make that quite big. And just in this area here, again, go onto your color wheels. We want to add a bit of warmth to the ground. So let's just pull that up a bit. Let's have a look at the output there. That's looking a little better. I'm just going to adjust the ground a little bit. I don't think we need quite so much lift. I have to say, that looks really good. Now, as you're editing this, you're going, right, okay, well, I've made it look a little bit better, but it's often a really good idea to actually compare it to what you started out with. So let's go back to the edit page. I'm going to take this clip now. I'm going to copy it, Control and C, paste it there. And then I'm going to, for this clip, go into the color, and I'm just going to delete all of these nodes. That makes a lot of difference. Very quickly, I'll put one on top of the other, and on this, I'm going to just crop the right, and you can see there immediately, what a difference. Let's just play that through a little bit. I'll speed it up, but you can see how much difference just a few tweaks make. And that workflow with the nodes in the color screen isn't actually that difficult. Have a play with it, see how you get on. So are there any techniques in Davinci Resolve that you use that might be helpful? Why not pop that in the comments and let me know and the other viewers of the video know. If you are finding any of this video useful or entertaining, please don't forget to pop a like on it and also consider subscribing. It'll put a smile on my face, but it'll also help the channel out as well. Thanks very much. In the meantime, if you want to learn how to make drone video a little bit more engaging, then have a look at this video here. And if you want to see what YouTube's gremlins are recommending, have a look at this video here. Bye.